TIFU when I, 18M, asked my parents for permission to have sex in my room. Better to ask for forgiveness than permission. I listened to Reddit and convinced my GF to sleep with me in my room when my parents were out of the house. My GF and I managed to get away with it, twice. The first time was easy. My mom was my dad's +1 at a business event that finished late enough for me to have sex in my own bed and cuddle afterwards. The second time was not that easy because my GF noticed all the mousetraps in our house during her first visit and became aware of the fact that we had an obvious mouse problem. Her fear of mice, which I never even knew she had, was bad enough to override her desire to have sex with me inside my house. I suggested an alternative, my dad's 1989 Toyota Corolla that was gathering dust in our garage. The car was no longer in working condition, but at least it was mouse-free. I checked. Instead of sheets, my GF and I had seats. In other words, we would still more or less have privacy since we were still technically at my house, but the risk of spotting Stuart Little's offspring was somewhat lower. My GF and I waited for another window of opportunity before getting naked in the back seat of my dad's Corolla. It was hot. Literally. No aircon and none of the windows rolled down. Still had sex though. Cut to the third time my GF and I hooked up at my house. The two of us agreed to do it in my dad's old car again. However, when we were done, we struggled to get out of the car because the one door that worked somehow stopped working. I was unable to open the door from the inside. My GF and I panicked. The clock was ticking. It was only a matter of time before my parents would be home. YouTube was no help to us at all. Out of desperation, I was tempted to break one of the car windows in order to escape. My GF begged me not to do that because A, it was dumb and B, she was worried I might get hurt. My GF and I had an argument about whose fault it was that we were in that situation and what needed to happen to get ourselves out. The unpopular but logical option was to call the owner of the car, aka my father, and ask him what the cheat code was to escape. I didn't want to involve my dad at all, but it seemed like there was no other option that made more sense, so I made the call. My dad didn't answer his phone, which was a relief, not gonna lie. I switched to texting and sent him an awkward message asking if there was a trick to opening the door of his Corolla because I was stuck inside. I expected my dad to text me back and ask what I did to end up trapped inside his car, which would have prompted me to lie, but deceiving my dad was pointless because his message made it clear that he knew what was really going on. How? Well, according to my dad, he realized his old car that used to smell like an old car suddenly smelled like sex. Part of me died inside. I wanted nothing more than to unread that message from my dad. In other news, the key to opening my dad's car was to push against the door as hard as possible before pulling the door handle, not the other way around. That was my dad's pro tip. It worked. My GF and I made it out of the car. I have no idea how I became the bad guy, but my GF was mad at me. She said she was done having sex with me in the woods, in my house and in my dad's fucked up car. I didn't have the energy to argue anymore, so I accepted the blame for apparently everything before saying goodbye. I was in my room when my parents came home. I was too ashamed to show my face. I was feeling even more ashamed towards the end of the evening when I heard my dad argue with my mom about me. Based on what I heard, I assumed my dad probably told my mom about what happened in the car and she lost her shit. I usually put on my headphones and drown out my parents whenever the two of them argue, but this time I chose to eavesdrop, which was another dumb decision of mine because I overheard my dad defending me by reminding my mom about the good old days when they were young and hooking up in the back seat of his '89 Toyota Corolla. The realization that I had sex on the same seats that my parents had sex on made my penis shrivel up inside my pubes and go into exile. On second thought, I decided to put on my headphones after all. All of the above happened in the past week or so. I'm planning to move out soon, so hopefully that makes everyone calm the fuck down about where I fuck. TLDR, listen to Reddit. Had sex at my house before deciding to fuck in my dad's old car. Car door stopped working. GF and I got stuck. Had to call Dad. Dad told Mom. GF got mad at me. Mom got mad at me. Dad got mad at mom for getting mad at me. I found out my parents had sex in the same car.
If you liked this video, make sure you hit the like button and comment down below your thoughts. Also don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more videos like this.